A very good morning. This is Financial Clinic on the 18th day of June. Sorry, I want to take you back to May. 18th day of June 2025, and I'm smiling because we're talking about money. Who doesn't like money? Anything to do with money? I'm game. And this morning, I'm super excited to be hosting gurus when it comes to matters money, a lady and a gentleman, and they'll be taking us through an interesting topic, and I think it's quite timely, especially for the young people when it comes to getting rich quickly. We call it, getting success or wealth very, very quickly. And are there any risks involved when it comes to that? Instant rich, instant risk. That is a topic for today. Join me on our social platforms, 20316, that is our SMS line, 0786316316, that is our WhatsApp line. Loop into the conversation, let us know your thoughts, ask your questions, give us feedback, and we're right here. They'll be responding to you. Karibuni sana, my guest. Asanteni sana for making time. I'll start with the lady. Joy, please introduce yourself.
My name is Joy. Isaiah. I am a financial coach. I've been in this space for the last 13 years. I'm glad to be doing this today with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And my host. It's a good time again to be here with us and ready for a great time. Thank you.
Okay.
Kevin is my name.
That is where I was going. Yes. So now so you've already said it. Anyway, Joy, maybe I'll start with you to start us off. When we talk about, instant rich, instant risk, what is your explanation on this mindset of just getting rich quickly? Yeah.
It comes from a cultural perspective.
Okay.
We have transitioned from a procedural way of doing things to an instant way of doing things. If you look at when we were growing up, we didn't have things like microwaves.
Right.
We would have to go light the fire and heat the food or cook the food. We didn't even have mobile phones. We would have to go to the booth. So the technological advancements have also gotten us there because it is a mindset of how we do things over time. Then even when it gets to money, we should just expect to, have instant gratification. So it stems from somewhere, the change of times. Yeah.
And I can imagine a Gen Z watching now, booths, what are those? Anyway, that's where we used to, those are our mobile phones. Kevin, your take or your explanation on the mindset of get rich quickly?
I, in my purview, think it is a mentality actually that you find mostly our young people may be getting into, a state where they are seeking to get quick wealth accumulation.
Okay.
Mostly it gets into maybe shortcuts, but then you find that they are not considering the side effects or maybe the aftermath, where now the effects cuts across, because anything that is called shortcut, it cuts people short at the end of the day. So in the quick rush to maybe acquire wealth, they don't then end up considering the risks that come with it. So they are in the push of maybe peer pressure, or maybe internet, or maybe what they are seeing on social media, as we would say. So they're in the business of running to make that quick money. Let me have it now. Not considering which ways exactly have now resulted into maybe that particular acquisition of that wealth. So the microwave, as Joy would put it, is a state then that you find our people, mostly young, they have seen so-and-so coming up from maybe a well background, and they are doing their life, driving the Porsche vehicles, they would see it around, but then not seeing that there are consequential effects to it. So this microwave state of acquisition of wealth, accumulation of that money, call it, it is good and it's very bad if then you don't know the strategy and the way to get there.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what are some of those ways, Joy, that this that these young people look at and they can get rich quickly? Crypto, what are some of those examples, probably?
So definitely crypto has been a buzz.
Right.
Yeah. I have also heard something about or rather, crypto and Bitcoin is the same thing. There also has been the push about a money market fund being the ticket to wealth. I'm here to burst your bubble that you need time to actually build it and the discipline to let the money grow. Yes, it compounds, but it requires a discipline to let it grow. Then there's also been content creation.
Yes.
Where everybody feels I am the next big thing. There has also been online writing courses. I think it started, well, I was still in campus, I used to do that. But now I think there's more to it. Then there's where people give you the opportunity to review their products when you really don't know what to do or what the products are, but they will actually even chat. You may still get those things. Please review. I really don't even know what the product is. So ideally, the question is, what is the product? How does it work? And who has succeeded doing it? You see, it is one thing for you to tell me about someone in abroad or someone I don't know who is actually making money. But in my circles, who has actually done it and succeeded doing it? That is something that is very important that we need to look at. So if I cannot identify a success story, then there's a problem. If I cannot identify a certain asset that is being traded there, then there's also a problem. Yes.
So they need to research on all those things. You don't just wake up and decide, I bring to you and you're like, okay, crypto, blah, blah, blah. But you've talked about influencing, Kevin. Do you think social media is playing a role in this get-rich-quick schemes and all that?
Definitely it does. In a way that you find there is something we call FOMO. Fear of missing out. And then there is the fear of being left behind. You know, they call it the FOLIB. So there is FOMO and the FOLIB. So they are in the business of now, let me catch up with the current, generation that is moving so fast. And especially now with our Gen Z setting, you realize that now I can't be left behind. Let me do what you're doing so that I can get where you're getting. But then the level of knowledge is now what makes the whole difference. Now, there are people you find, maybe someone has gotten to where it's not bad to be rich at a very early age, but then the strategy or the way there is what matters the most. So social media is influencing at large our family days. I mean, our young people in the families today. But then you realize, I was telling somebody the other day that acquiring or getting 1 million is totally different from making 1 million.
True.
You see? So the person who will sustain that kind of acquisition is the one who made it, not who got it. So if you got it that fast, you lose it very quickly. But if you made it that fast, you can be able to sustain it.
Absolutely.
So the influence in which social media is actually playing that role, it's good. But then let it be for purposes of now creating awareness. But then now take journey on a personal level. And begin now to make it a personal intention. How can I make it? Not how can I get it?
All right. Exactly. How can I make it? Not how can I get it? Joe, would you like to add something on social media?
So social media is actually meant to form opinions and influence your decisions. So call it an unregulated marketing space. Because ideally when you're on social media, you're trying to ensure that whatever you're doing actually either gets a sale or a following that will result into a sale. So there's always an end game to it. And maybe what I would want to tell our young people is many times the influencers you follow are actually usually sponsored. So don't die with the fear of missing out or losing out, as my colleague here, Kevin, is putting it. Because someone is actually behind them bankrolling what they are doing for the benefit of their businesses. So you'd suppose, for example, if it's a trip or a vacation, if I am the owner of the business, I will find someone who I think is influential, has a big following, because what I need is the following. So what will I do? Sponsor them to come to my hotel or wherever it is in my business, so that they can give reviews about my business. So what have I done to you who is at home? You keep feeling that is the right place for me to go. So the purpose of social media is actually to form your opinion and influence your decision-making process.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
like what you've said, unregulated.
Yes.
Yeah.
it
So
is.
with that comes a lot of risks, isn't it?
Correct.
Daktari. Anyway, daktari wa pesa. This is a clinic, financial clinic.
yes.
So, yeah. There's something called delayed gratification, right? You know, does it play any role when it comes to building wealth? Like, I have this something I want to buy, and I think I don't know if it's just one of you guys once said, you just go and sleep over it, and tomorrow morning start thinking, do I really need that thing? How does that help in wealth building, probably, especially for the young people?
Very important, actually, because instant gratification is the effect of this thing, but delayed gratification is actually the treatment, is a diagnosis.
Okay.
That brings you to a place where now you're able to take time and strategize, plan, and then know the roadmap to where you're going.
Okay.
In fact, it helps people when you exercise delayed gratification in a way that you are able not to bump into impulse purchases or buying, and then you end up now with financial pressure.
Okay.
Or maybe you buy things you don't want to please people who don't love you. And then you end up now in the society, you're hanging around. You have a huge machine packed out there, but then you're calling people, can you send me just 1,000 so that I can just fuel it, get to the office? I'll sort you when I get there. Now, that is an instant gratification. We wanted to see that you're succeeding in the society. Or maybe you build a huge home. And this home now, you're the only one in there. And now you're busy paying off heavy duty loans,
Right.
you know, mortgages here and there. But if you had exercised delayed gratification, you would sit down, probably with your financial advisor, with your financial coach, or maybe having gone through studies to know now when I have this amount of wealth, I have accustomed and amassed to myself, what exactly am I supposed to do so that, first of all, not to consume it, but to invest and grow.
Yeah.
Build a certain portfolio, and for you to build that portfolio that is able to generate revenues for you,
Right.
you've got to exercise delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification.
Exactly.
Joy, do you see that aspect of fake it till you make it among these young people?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are the consequences or negative impact on that on them?
From a Christian perspective, it is not right.
Yeah.
There's argument about faking it, you know, has the psychological effect of helping you get there because you create a mindset that
Yeah.
you create habits, and I'm aware of that. However, it has no foundation of behavioral conduct that will sustain you there. And that is, there's something Kevin said, there's getting and there's making.
Yeah.
So faking is a getting. It is not making. You actually need to make it. Yeah. Instead of faking it, why don't you admire and actually come up with steps to actually get there?
Yeah.
Because, you know, faking means you're actually living a lie, and it is usually out of what he said, FOMO.
Exactly.
So it is not real. I would rather you actually take baby steps, build by and by, until you can actually eventually get there realistically. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Kevin, you've touched on, you talked about financial advisors. I don't know, for either of you, and both of you can answer this. Do young people come to you for financial advice, you know, or is it just sisi wenye tunaona miaka imesonga?
I think for those ones, usually people have different goals in life. In fact, what we tell, especially our young people when they come to us or when we go to them, because either way we bump into each other and we're like, hey, by the way, where are you going? And they're like, I'm rushing to the office. And I said, no, that's not what I meant. Where are you going with your life? You see? And when we ask that question, where are you going with your life? Simply what we are asking to know is, can I know your goal so that I can help you with a plan?
Okay.
If then you know the goal, what is your plan?
Right.
you know. So when you know your plan, then you need somebody who is able to now keep you responsibly disciplined on that journey to acquisition of a particular purpose or attaining that particular goal. And that involves now the discipline of investments and savings.
Okay.
But then without that, because now you find someone says, me, I'm still young, you know, I'm still in my early 20s. I have some time, man. Allow me to chop my money.
Right.
You know, I want to eat this thing. Let me hang out with my boys or my fellow girls, you know. But then with all that, have the consciousness of mind that everything you're getting today it has in itself, like Joy would put it from a Christian perspective, but then that is all kingdom principles, where now Jesus said that there is going to now be a seed, time and harvest, all the way from even Genesis. Yes, in that, is it okay to quote a scripture?
Oh yeah, sure.
Right. In Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, God told Noah that as long as heaven and earth remains, seed time and harvest will not cease. And now Jesus in Matthew 25 is giving an analogy from verse number 14. He says, the kingdom of God or of heaven is like a man who went on a journey, and this particular guy is getting to a point where now he left to 3 guys. 3 different talents. To one 5, to one 2, to one 1.
Yeah.
Now, there is one who had a very weird mindset, saying, let me just keep what I've been given. You know, your parents gave you something, and maybe this could be pocket money in your campus.
Right.
But then, if you don't have the mindset of an investor, you will keep it or you will eat it. At the end of the day, there is that eating into it. If you are not the one eating it, inflation will eat it, or taxation will eventually take it out. So these other 2 guys invested, and they were found to be said faithful servants.
Okay.
So when we are now meeting our young people to meet and say, now, where are you going with your life? I'm simply asking now, where is your goal? What is your goal? What is the plan to it? What is the roadmap there? And then when we get there now, we are able to guide you baby steps. It doesn't begin up there. It begins here. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one stride.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Quite profound. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Kevin. And you've talked about investment opportunities. And unless you have something to add?
I would also want to say that depending on the environment and the friendships and the companies you keep, you will either access financial literacy early or late.
Okay.
So company is very important.
Yeah, it's crucial.
I'll keep repeating something that my mentor says, that if you keep company with 4 fools, you're the 5th.
You're the 5th. Absolutely.
If you keep company with 5 rich-minded people, become the 5th millionaire.
True.
So really good company, bad company corrupts good morals, and good company will as well improve your morals.
Okay. Yeah. He touched on investment opportunities, and so probably you may just guide the young people probably who are watching, which are some of the areas they can start with. You know, they're young, so probably when the money is pretty young, how can they start investing? What are those opportunities out there?
Yeah. So the first thing they need to do is actually make the money.
Okay.
Because you see, you cannot invest what you do not have.
Right.
So they need to figure out how to consistently have something that they make. And the success of financial planning or success is actually not in the big sums. It's in the small coins put together.
Okay.
So start with a money market fund. There are many asset managers that are regulated by CME currently in the country that will offer them the opportunity to start a money market fund, and they can do it online. For many of these providers, there's an online digital platform that resonates well with them. Secondly, are life policies. I think we have demonized life policies for a long time, and it is time we actually give them the due respect they deserve, because they allow you to build a capital reserve with some form of life cover by and by over time, and so that by the time they actually need the lump sum amounts, they have that amount ready instead of actually taking capital. The other place I would want them to consider is SACCOs. I know we have had an upheaval with the Cusco fiasco, but SACCOs are a line of credit that we cannot turn away from because of how cheap it is and how flexible it is. But you can only thrive in a SACCO if you have a formidable social capital.
Okay.
Meaning, every time you need to take a loan from the circle, you need guarantors.
Right.
Now, if you don't gel very well with people, you don't relate well with people, who will guarantee you? So there's the social aspect to the money
Okay.
that also needs to be incorporated. There's currently the CS
Okay.
that is a platform. In fact, let us give credit where it's due. We are the only country in the world that allows you to take bills and bonds from the comfort of your mobile phone. So kudos to our CBK. It's a
Wow.
good stride.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and sometimes they will make a 50K from a crypto instead of maybe taking it back and burning it. Why don't you actually buy a bill or a bond at the comfort of your phone?
Okay.
Yeah. Then there's also business. There are many people who have a hand in business.
Okay.
That they, if I do this, I'll make a profit, you know, and such things. There's also people who do not have the skill, but may have the access to the money.
Okay.
Why don't you become a shareholder in something? Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And I also want to task, we have seen fund managers that are doing collective investment schemes actually making real returns from offshore investments. For example, I remember there was a time I listened to FFA Adejumo. I don't know whether you have listened to her. She was asking, what mobile phone do you use? Have you bought shares? 0.01%. And it actually makes sense because most of our young people actually use very serious gadgets.
Right.
And those are very serious stocks as well. So why don't you start investing in stocks? We currently have our NSE. It may not trade the way they do abroad with Forex, but it's readily available and it is something that they can plug into.
But with that, don't they need now? That's where you come in.
Yes.
Because in terms of bills, stocks and all those, I don't think most of them probably have that knowledge. That's where you come in?
Yes, but you'll be pretty surprised that they actually understand it better than the older generation.
Okay.
And they are their risk appetite is up there.
Okay. Wow. Kevin.
Yes.
The risks, because we've talked about the instant reach, you know, that wealth. What about the risks? What are some of those risks that come with this instant wealth?
Maybe to some is I traded one time with my wife in Forex.
Forex.
The Department of Volatility Indices. My goodness, we call them boom and crash. So you would put in money and of course wake up the following second. It's not that one takes less than 2 minutes, 1 minute, sometimes 15 seconds. Then you just place in maybe 20K. The next minute the thing spikes up, you have 100,000. So you're like, wow, there is life in here. But then there is another department now on stocks and all that, that you'll put in maybe a trade now. Then you'll find that thing now goes after days, maybe 1 week, and it gives you good returns. Now the big question, as Joy would put it, was about the risk appetite.
Yeah.
Because now we have to watch now the risks, but then check on the appetite you have over risks. Because the risk we are dealing with now is how fast, how hungry are you to obtain it. If you are too hungry, then remember, you will begin to now log into programs or maybe platforms that give you quick promises that we are going now, place this amount of money, you get this amount of return. Some of them have ended up being now scammers, you know.
Yeah.
To some, they have now gotten to a point where they will say now put in this amount of money, maybe 10,000 or maybe even 5K, 2,000 or 50K, 100,000, going all amount you would want to put. And then the next minute you're going to get 75 or 90% of returns. But then one thing that most of such platforms will never tell you is the higher the returns, the higher the risk. So you stand a higher risk to lose, just as you're going to also stand a high risk to gain.
Okay.
So the higher the risk, the higher the returns, the higher the, especially when we are talking about short-term plan at that particular instance.
But I hear a lot of young people saying life is about risks. Anyway, we're going to take a break just before coming back into this very insightful and informative conversation. So see you shortly.
We are living in a lost and broken world, constantly bombarded by messages of hate and atrocities. But with God, we can overcome. Find hope and restoration on the go through life-changing shows on the Family Media app.
And then you will lose yourself and gain the world. And Jesus said, what good is it?
Get to stream Family TV and Family Radio 316 straight from your phone. Catch up on a show you missed or create video streaming playlists by saving and watching videos from our huge variety of shows at your own convenience. Download the Family Media app, available for all Android and iOS users on the Google Play Store and Apple Store respectively. Family Media, keeping Jesus on the airwaves.
Are you blind financially? Do you want to see? The ophthalmologists are here when it comes to matters finances, so please join in, plug into this conversation. 20316 is our SMS line, 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. Get treated, get to see, get to have your dream or vision, achieved through this particular show. And before we get to the conversation, there's someone online, and it's for you, my guest, the questions. Good morning, Sally and the guest. How can one rebuild trust in themselves financially after making big money mistakes? And then the other one is, if you're mentoring a 20-year-old with no savings at all and big dreams, where would you start from as an expert? Enjoy. I think you can take the first one in terms of building trust, especially after making money mistakes, which we all do, by the way. Yeah.
So the first thing you do is accept.
Okay.
Because building trust is more psychological than it is physical. Accept that you're actually in a hole and stop digging any further.
Right.
So I would also want to know the big money mistake, possibly looking at it from a perspective of either debt or blowing up an investment.
Okay.
So if it is debt, you actually need to be conscious and deliberate on how you settle. Because ideally now that impacts you and the people you owe.
Yeah.
It also involves the people you have as guarantors or people who around you are being looped into this mess. Then there's blowing up an investment.
Okay.
Yeah. I think maybe I should touch on how to settle debt slowly.
Yes.
You can either use what we call snowballing. Sometimes when you talk about snow, it looks like it's very foreign. But when you talk about hay or nyasi, from an Ushago perspective, you'll pull a little, add a little until you have a whole bill. Yeah.
Right.
So you can do that with debt. Start with the little ones or small amounts until everything is cleared. Alternatively, there is what we call avalanche. Avalanche is where you decide by whatever is the biggest with the highest interest that cannot allow me to breathe. That's what I start off with.
All right.
Possibly, if you have been having this many debts everywhere, the first thing to do is to find one partner, especially either a bank or a SACCO, that can actually buy off all your debt at a cheaper interest rate.
Okay.
So that you're only dealing with one person, less pressure, but who can allow you enough time at a reduced interest rate that you're able now to live without harassing other people.
Yeah.
And you actually breathe.
Okay.
Then there's also the fact of blowing off an investment. Now there's what Kevin talked about, making and getting. Most likely, whoever makes rarely will misuse.
True.
But whoever gets, be it lottery, be it an inheritance, but if you do not have the pain and the discipline of actually getting there, will more often than not blow it.
Okay.
But now from a young person's perspective, sometimes even if they make it, they will actually blow it because of peer pressure.
Okay.
So number one, the first thing you need to do is actually make sure you have a budget.
You're right.
You have a goal.
Okay.
There's what we call money by decades. Maybe we need to look at it some other time. What you need to be doing at what level of life and how to go about it.
Okay.
So the first thing you need to do is actually now start directing your money where to go consciously. Because sometimes we assume we know, but the truth of the matter is there are many people who actually handle money with their first pay slip.
Yeah.
So it's a conversation we actually need to start having in our homes when our children are very young.
Okay.
From the pocket monies you give them, from the small grocery monies you give them, it's a conversation by and by that we need to start having with our children from a very young age.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Then the person also asked, if you're mentoring a 20-year-old with no savings and big dreams, where would you start from as an expert, Kevin?
All right. I love this. It's a good question because I have a 17-year-old in the house. What to do is embrace the traction of what you call the law of reciprocity. This principle actually helps you with the two things. Number one, to exercise perseverance. And number two, to exercise what you call patience.
Okay.
These are equalizers that help you now to manage the state called the highway of wealth creation phantom. They are able to now help somebody to get from any age.
Yeah.
Because now me, I started training my 17-year-old from 16 years, where now we are able to now say, put this shilling here, put this one here, keep this one, don't use it.
Wow.
Or this particular one, spend on this one, but then be responsible of your spending.
Okay.
Because we grew up with the knowledge that money is now something you should not even touch.
Absolutely.
Don't touch that money, you know.
And parents saying they don't have always.
Or we've been always told growing up, I don't have.
Yeah.
I don't. And now we have also grown knowing or learning that give me until you become Jimmy at the same time. So now the thing you do is exercise this principle of reciprocity, in such a way that, number one, as you're exercising these two equalizers, patience and perseverance, you are able to now acquire knowledge on finances.
Okay.
Okay. Number two, learn on what is called budgeting.
Right.
It doesn't begin by investing. No. It begins by knowledge.
Okay.
Equip yourself with now the study on budgeting. Of course, now acquire a cutting edge financial advisor and coach.
Okay.
That could be a parent, that could be a friend, that could be maybe a mentor.
Okay.
That could be, have somebody that is ahead of you in this journey. And then understand number three, is it number three?
Yes.
Number three is know what is called debt management.
Correct.
Okay, so that if you bump yourself into a debt, how do you overcome or come out of debt? Like Joy would put it, is that if you found yourself already in a hole, don't continue digging.
Right.
What are the ways you can come up out of that particular hole? Another thing is learn investment and saving ways. When we talk about growing money, what does it entail? We need to know now, as from a 20-year-old, like the viewer would put it.
Yeah.
At this age 20, we have now some cash here.
Yeah.
Assuming now maybe while the baby or the child or the son or daughter was growing up, they had some kitty kept by the parent. And now this time round, they have been exposed to it. That now I have some 500,000 here for you, start off your business. You would go the way of business, you would go the way of investing.
Right.
But then do we have now investment tools that we need to put that money in? Another thing to watch over is learn on what we call risk management. Risk management, or watching over risk appetite. Your expenditure also. That's another thing. I didn't dwell on the risk management bit. But then how fast do you want to make it?
Okay.
Another thing is on the same, is watch at the state where now you have this money. It is at your disposal. It is in your power. Which direction do you give? Because money takes the route you take it. It always obeys your voice. But the voice you're commanding money with is the knowledge you gained.
Okay.
So if you are not well vested in the knowledge of investment and saving, you blow up that 1 million account and you will not now understand. So risk management and check on your expenditure. What is it necessary really to spend that money now? Or you had to now exercise what we said in the beginning, delayed gratification, so that you're able to grow in that journey. Thank you.
Wow, that was deep, and I'm sure both of you have adequately responded to our viewer or listener, you know. And so, Carol, looking at the young people coming in with a lot of urgency, you know, like it's very urgent for me to be rich. Is it about the cost of living maybe that is rising every day, or is it about unemployment? Or is it about the struggles that they see maybe their parents went through or are going through? What do you think is really the force behind all this?
It's a combination of all.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because if you look at where we are today, let me give you an example. I know you went through campus. How much
Right.
were you eating for mess? How much was mess?
Well, I can't remember.
You know, to the tune of a few shillings, yeah?
Yeah.
Currently, I think they're paying about 150 for mess. So the cost of rising definitely is something that we will want to look at.
Okay.
However, is it because of what their parents have gone through? Yes and no. There are people who have watched their parents struggle and actually come up with a strategy of not struggling themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be also the influence of why they don't want to struggle and they want to, you know, make it rich very fast. The problem is not becoming rich. The problem is becoming rich quickly in an unsustainable way.
Unsustainable, yeah.
Yeah. So if you can get rich in a sustainable way, that's fine.
That's okay.
Okay. So maybe that's also a challenge to us parents right now, because if we are struggling, then we have children that are not willing to struggle like us.
Absolutely.
They are choosing a better way of, you know, living and doing things. So yes, it is a mindset, first of all, and it is being shaped by social media.
Okay.
Because our kids have learned how to swipe the screens before they have learned how to swipe their noses or wipe their noses.
Yeah.
So there's what I would call the predisposition, the technological predisposition. They have more access to a faster way of doing things that does not allow them to sit and actually think that they can be a slow way. So it kind of clashes. You know, because as they are growing up, everything is pretty instant. You know, then when they get to their, you know, at 18, 20, you're not telling them, slow down. It's almost an oxymoron.
Yeah.
That they cannot, quote unquote, put together.
True.
What is this now that is happening that I'm an adult? And they actually feel that you owe me something. There's something you missed training. But it is how also we have, I mean, life has thrown curveballs at us as parents. Because now, if you look at nurturing, compare the current generation and our generation, you have employed everything as a career woman to facilitate a better way of doing things in your home.
Absolutely.
But when me and you were growing up, we were part of the engine of running the life.
Right.
Yeah. So it was not a very hard transition for us like it is for them.
Yeah.
However, we are here to tell them that good things actually take time. Yeah. Sustainable wealth actually takes time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because many times we want to isolate money from the day-to-day living, handling money, just like Kevin said, comes from character. So you actually need to build your character for delayed gratification, including in how you know the way, like now I have a 7-year-old, sometimes he will tell me, I can't wait to, and I tell him, you can wait.
Yeah.
Imagine you can wait, because if you keep telling yourself you cannot wait, you form an opinion that you do not have the patience, you do not have the bandwidth. You deny yourself the ability to actually be patient, which is a fruit of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So wealth actually stems from hard work and patience.
Wow.
And knowledge, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well said. You know, in all this, Kevin, I'm seeing a mindset thing, you know. So what mindset shift does one need to, you know, be able then to create this sustainable wealth that Joy is talking about?
Oh, good question. That one, you know, I've been a victim before. I'm the same. The mindset we need to generate or develop is one, very, very small things, by the way. I call them sometimes arresting the small foxes in the room. Number one is move from the mindset of impulse buying to a mindset of financial planning before you purchase. Number two, move from the mindset of losing again. Yes? Maybe you lost it before.
Yeah.
So don't have that consciousness that I'm too careful not to lose again. Now move from that mindset into now the mindset of risk management before you invest. Move from the mindset of wealth status quo
Okay.
to a mindset of wealth freedom with purpose. You see? So you are acquiring this wealth with a purpose attached to it.
Okay.
You move with your mindset from a state where I grew up from a poor background into, can I be the background that is a wealth creation facet? Like beginning with me to my entire generation, there will be now a whole turnaround, a change of story. So the mindset, of course, Proverbs 23, I believe, verse number 7, I think that is the scripture. It says, as he thinketh in his mind, so is he. So the big thing is, what are you ruminating on? What do you always eat? Because you are always a product of your food.
Right.
And this food is the food of knowledge. First of all, eat from a certain knowledge table. And then move from there and now come to a place where you are not found or swayed by every opportunity that just appeared.
Okay.
That this looks a very nice thing. It's a mindset. Into now, I want to now think before I move. So you think before you leap over the wall. You don't jump into investing into that opportunity because your friend has done it. You don't know maybe what are the things that your friend considered before they made that step. So don't just always jump into it because it was an opportunity. Not every door was your open door. Some were traps.
Okay.
So before you make that step, have a mindset of, can I wait? Look into it, reconsider, and then make a step into it. Maybe assuming what you have is 100%. So the much you can put into that quick investment plan could only, the largest you can ever go is at most 35%.
Okay.
If you go beyond there, then you are really a risk taker. But then you will have to come to some of us here for some clinic because the risk that will have happened, it is something. So the mindset you have is be quick to receive that information, but slow to take action, but smart to investigate.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Jo, you know, the young people that we're talking about are quite digitalized, so to speak. And so apart from having you people as financial advisors physically, is there another way, probably digitally, that they can learn about money?
Yeah. Yeah. There are webinars that are happening all over.
Okay.
Then there's definitely, even if you were to reach out to any of us, we usually do classes, webinars, Zoom meetings, you know, virtual calls and clinics, assessments and guidance. So there are a lot of those opportunities. YouTube is a great, great resource.
Okay.
Yeah. Even Google, just type how to, you know, save, how to, you know, whatever you want to do. It's something that we have, I don't know whether out of pride or arrogance, want to feel like we know, but it is okay not to know.
Absolutely.
Just ask. And nowadays, unlike me and you who would have to go look for the teacher in class to ask, the young generation can ask Dr. Google. You know, there are now AI tools that are actually able to research everything available for you in the world and actually give you a summary of what is available for you in the area you're looking at. ChatGPT and these all other small, you know, mushrooming AI tools are available for them at the click of their button.
Okay.
Then there are books, for example, like Napoleon's Hill, Think and Grow Rich. There's a reason why that gentleman said you think, not act. He said think, because as a man thinketh,
so is
he.
Yeah.
So whoever thinks he can, can.
Yeah.
Whoever thinks he cannot,
They can't.
or she cannot, They're absolutely right.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, time, the enemy, as always, when it comes to such sweet discussions, time is not our side. So, Kevin, I'll just, your parting shot very briefly, and then I give Joy the same opportunity very briefly in seconds. Then we wrap up.
Right. We usually say, in all of your getting, get understanding, Proverbs 4 verse 7. Now, as you are getting money, don't just go to look for a good job and earn quality money.
Right.
But as you earn that quality money, please invest. Divide your money into always 3 classes. One for basics, another one for wants, we call them discretionary spending, and then the other one for savings and investment. Please don't have all your eggs in one basket. Exercise that wisdom, and you'll always conquer the world.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Eggs not in one basket, Cindy. All right.
Yeah.
Joy?
I want to go to my Swahili teacher and say, ujana ni moshi. So this is the foundation of your life.
Wow.
Whether you want to look at it from a character perspective, family perspective, or finances, whatever you do in your 20s and early 30s will have an impact of how you will end up later in life.
Right.
So make sure you have a firm foundation. Reach out if you need help. I think at this point I would want to share out my contact, 0729 268516. If you need of help, whether you're young or old, let us look at what you're struggling with. Let us craft, a path for you to lead you to success.
Okay.
But all in all, think and grow rich. Yeah.
Probably, Kevin, I give you an opportunity to share your number as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus 2547 23 00 30 64 0723 00 30 64. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'm not the instant rich, but I've really benefited. I've learned, even for my young people at home. I think I'm going to take them and I'll share this link with them. So if you've missed this or you're just catching up with us right now, please be sure to join or watch this on our YouTube channel, on our social media platforms. We'll be there. This is a conversation you may not want, you may not want to miss, especially if you're a parent, to even the very young children. They need to learn about money. So thank you so much for your time, the feedback, your interactions. We want to say asante sana. And remember, ujana ni moshi. That is what Joy has said. And don't put all your eggs in one basket. And so also to our partners, I want to say a very big asante sana. Thank you very much for always holding us, being part of us, and ensuring that we are live on air, just keeping Jesus on the airways and bringing you such impactful content. We want to say thank you. And if you want to be part of this team, amazing community, you can do that by sending the word partner to 20316 or 0786 316 316. That is our WhatsApp line, and our team will reach out to you and help you to be part of this team. And also, if you want to support us in any way, do that on paybill number 316 316, and the account number shall be your telephone number. God bless you and keep you. See you again tomorrow on Matters Relationship. Bye for now.